Hey, it's Brad. So, conspiracies are funny. Um, just as a whole, really. I mean, there's so many little things, like little collusion, um, shadiness. Uh, that's just, on a really any multiple, you know, people. Like even with kids, if they're doing something they're not supposed to do, and one of them gets the other one to do it, and they just have kind of a implicit, complicit agreement where it's mutually assured destruction. I got dirt on you, you got dirt on me. I'm not going down without you. And I mean, sure, you could consider that minute, ubiquitous scale to be a very lightweight form of conspiracy, but that's just silly. Um, and similarly, on the other end of it, to fully buy into a massive scale thing, to go all the way, you just have to go with the, you know, simulation universe approach, Matrix style. But seeing as how, you know, one of those is pointless and the other one is unprovable, then the workable reality lies somewhere in between. It's like there's a quote that I like. It's called Hanlon's razor, like Occam's razor. Never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity. Yeah. I mean, and that's not even just assume that there's a chance their malice is actually just stupidity. It's if there is a possible chance that stupidity adequately explains the situation, then don't bother attributing any malice. The energy that you lose there, as well as the time and energy lost in investigating and confronting the malice when it might not even be there, that's, not even just diminishing, that's no return in the best case. So, just absolutely pointless. But similarly, this frivolity of labeling applies back to conspiracies, where it's never apply to or attribute to conspiracies that which could be adequately explained by aggregate hubris, self-interested and self-centered individuals. Like, say there was a goose that laid a golden hen, but no one could catch it. It just found its nest and then it flew away. Well, somebody finds the golden hen, they're going to try to capture it and have it lay eggs just for them. Or they're going to come up and steal the egg, and then they have, a lump of gold that they're going to turn around and sell. As long as they have the chance to exploit their find and they believe it's unique, then the impetus to share is at complete odds with their self-interest. So it's only when there's a bigger reason, bigger purpose, seeking some bigger understanding, that it's really relevant to do that. By relevant, I mean like feasible for in a moment for your brain to have that path as an option at all times. Like with my kids, when I'm trying to remind them to remember the rules, like if they're doing something they're not supposed to do, and I tell them and they understand, have a short conversation about it, and then 2 minutes later they just aren't thinking about it and do it again. Well, it's not that they weren't listening, not that they didn't hear me, not that they don't know it's not okay, whatever it is. It's that the moment that they were in had its shortest path, its default next step, still being just doing whatever the hell they wanted. And I'm trying to work into their thought process an extra step of check the rules when you're in any context. Really check your context to make sure that you have a accurate model of the situation so that your actions will go as anticipated. Kind of like when you're a kid, how you learn not to wet the bed, and so then if you ever for some reason had to try to pee yourself, there'd be a significant psychological block to it, because you've been training yourself not to for so long. But the conspiracy bit, I like this Doctor Who episode, like most of them, but to try to minimize spoilers. I mean, it's not a new one, so you've had your chance. But I'll keep it pretty ambiguous up until you know the episode, and then you will have already seen the twist. But so there's this civilization that's essentially being a parasitic slaver of a more powerful creature. And it was a Star Trek episode back in the day too. I think it's one of the Q episodes of this. But so this civilization, there's kind of a coming of age, rite of passage thing, where when kids would start to notice there was something going on, they would, get their brainwashed and kicked back out. And when adults started to notice what was going on, or once they hit this point, whatever, sleuth it out, or maybe it was just this one in particular. I guess it's been a minute. But either way, even if it's just this one, when that person sleuthed it out, then they had the option to erase their memory and go back, or to end it. And that's pretty hefty toll on the soul one way, and hefty toll on your civilization the other way. And that's not even counting the psychological toll, the toll on the souls of the other people. Because if that person brought the truth to light, then everyone else would suddenly have to deal with it too, and they would no longer have the option of just wiping their memories. But again, spoilers. They end up releasing the creature, and that's almost kind of in atonement even, and they're returned with beneficence and mercy and grace, love, all these affectionate feelings that the creature has towards the civilization. And so then there's just nowhere to go but up from there. But that wouldn't have been possible if they had just continued to, even unintentionally, collude. And even if by they I mean multiple iterations of the same person. And you get kind of a karmic cycle of going through it over and over again. Again, another Star Trek episode, going through a time loop, and they figure out more of it each time. Really gets less abstract and more really wonky specific.